Welcome to the I Am Her podcast. I am one of the hosts, Abigail, and today I'm going to be talking about the power of affirmations. This is something that I feel very strongly about and something that I have been wanting to talk about for a while. I know I've mentioned it so many times in past episodes, but I wanted to give it its own episode because this is something that has honestly changed my life for the better, and I do not know what I would do without affirmations. So, what are affirmations? Affirmations are intentional statements you repeat to yourself to reinforce beliefs, attitudes, or behaviors you want to cultivate. At their best, they aren't about pretending something is true when it isn't. They're about directing your attention toward the person you're becoming and the values you want to live by. For example, instead of saying, I'm the most confident person in the world, your affirmation would be, I'm learning to trust myself more every day. And I think the second one feels a lot more believable, which makes it easier for your brain to accept and act on. Affirmations, I think, are extremely helpful because whether we realize it or not, we are affirming things to ourselves every day, and that shapes our life. And a lot of times we don't even realize that we're like doing affirmations. Sometimes we have these negative beliefs that come back to us and that were maybe rooted in childhood, and without even realize it or subconsciously you might be like telling yourself affirmations. And the problem with that is a lot of them are negative because sometimes we can't help it and we are very negative about ourselves. And that's why we have to rewire our brain and rewire the pathways to become more positive. A lot of times I found myself saying that I'm awkward, that I mess things up, I'm hard to love, I can't do this, I'm scared. And of course, me saying those things, I'm just repeating that to myself. And eventually my brain is going to believe that's true. And no wonder I thought that about myself because I keep saying it over and over again and I have my whole life. So it's going to be pretty hard for me to not believe those things because I've been saying them. And maybe they're not even true, but I believe they're true and then I act accordingly because I think that that's how I am. But it doesn't have to be that way. We do not have to accept these negative affirmations. Every time we repeat them, we are strengthening a pathway in our brain. We're telling ourselves a story, and eventually we stop questioning whether it's true. And for me, one example is that I have told myself that I am a very shy person. And now I'm like, I don't know if I actually am like shy. I think I've just been told my whole life, not just by myself, but I've had people telling me growing up that I'm too quiet, too shy. And then I kind of believed that and I was like, oh yeah, I'm just a very quiet and shy person. But now that I'm older, I'm like, I don't actually know like if I'm that quiet and shy. Like I actually do like to talk. Clearly, I'm freaking doing a podcast as a hobby. So obviously I'm not the quietest person. But because I've told myself this story and others have told me this story as well, I believed it for so long. And now I'm trying to rewire my brain into thinking, okay, you know what? I'm not awkward. I am a confident person. I am a confident speaker. And I do like to be social, actually. I think it's very fun. So even when other people are telling you things, or you grew up hearing a certain statement, that may not be true. And that may be others deflecting that onto you. And you don't have to believe everything that people say to you. Of course, it's good to take constructive criticism, but sometimes people act and say maybe unkind things out of their own insecurities or their own flaws, and they're, projecting that onto you. But a lot of times that isn't true, and you should not take into account everything other people say about you, because the truth is they don't actually know. Only you do. And so that's why it's so, so important to do positive affirmations, because the more you say them, the more you are strengthening that pathway to grow and believe those things. And when you believe those things, you kind of manifest because you act on them. You think they're true. And so therefore you are that way. For example, one that I have been saying to myself is that I'm so lucky and like good things always happen to me. And ever since I've said that, I actually believe like I'm a really lucky person, because literally good things are always happening to me. And of course, I'm not always positive. I have negative affirmations that I subconsciously do, just like everybody else. But I truly believe that better things have started happening for me when I started to believe that, and when I actually started saying to myself, I'm so lucky, good things happen to me. I'm a magnet for miracles and blessings. Guess what? A lot of miracles and blessings have low key came my way. So just some food for thought. The more you say it, the more you believe it, the more it is true. And it is true because life is short. Like, honestly, life is so short. I do not want to spend my life being negative and thinking that everything's going wrong, because I genuinely used to believe that, like, I always was unlucky. I used to believe, you know what? I always get the bad end of the stick. The bad things, like, low-key always happen to me. And a lot of bad things did happen to me. But at the same time, I was repeating that to myself over and over. So, of course, I'm also only noticing the bad things that are happening, or the unlucky things that kept happening to me. And I thought that was just my luck. That's just how my life goes. And that's just my story. But that does not have to be my story. And I don't want it to be my story. So it's not. And I look back and I'm like, yeah, I only noticed the negative things that were going on around me. I wasn't even taking to account all of the beautiful things that were in my life. But I was more focused on the bad things. And that's the problem. And I look back from a couple years ago, maybe, to now, and my life is vastly different. I have a much better perspective on life. I have more fun, and I'm more excited about living than I was back then. It almost felt like it was a chore. So it can get better. This is me literally telling you I'm living proof. It does get better, but you do have to put in the work, because magical things are not just going to happen. You do have to put in the effort, just like manifesting. You can't just sit on your couch all day and be like, you know what, I'm going to manifest $1 billion. It will help, but you do have to put in some work. It's not just going to fall into your lap, as much as, I wish it would. But our brains are constantly having internal conversations, and we are already repeating the same thoughts over and over. They're often critical and fearful. And that is why I want to talk about this, because we need to change those into self-loathing affirmations and critical and affirmations that come out of fear, and change them into affirmations that are rooted in confidence and make you feel beautiful, make you feel amazing, and make you excited about life again. But of course, they're not magic. They're not instantly going to erase anxiety or make your problems disappear. But when they're paired with action, your self-confidence will be increased. Your negative self-talk will go down. I still have negative self-talk, and I struggle with it pretty bad, especially when it comes to body image and things like that. But I will say it has gotten so much better ever since I started telling myself that I'm beautiful. And it's so cheesy to say, you know what, go stand in front of the mirror and tell yourself that you're beautiful. Tell yourself you're confident, that you're magnetic. But it actually works. And you might be rolling your eyes right now, but truly, it actually makes a difference. It shifts your mindsets, and it keeps your goals at the front of your mind as well. Something that has made me more excited about life is I am affirming to myself that my success is inevitable and good things are going to happen to me. And it makes me more excited to work towards my goals and my dreams, because I'm like, you know what? They are going to happen for me because I deserve it, because I'm putting in the work. These beautiful things are going to be my life, and I'm going to make it happen. And me saying those affirmations gets me more excited and just makes manifesting it all that easier. It also encourages healthier habits and decisions. I mean, think of them almost as like you're planting seeds. One repetition is not going to change much, but when you water those seeds consistently, that is gradually going to change the landscape, and soon you're going to have a huge garden. But if you just occasionally water the seeds, it's going to die. They're not going to be able to grow because you're doing it every so often. But if you're actually consistent, it is going to happen for you, and it is going to be a habit. Affirmations for me took a lot of practice, because I didn't just immediately start doing them perfectly. I've been doing this for like years now, and I feel like I'm just now in the habit of always saying positive affirmations to myself. And of course, I'm not perfect, and I'm going to have negative affirmations because I'm human, and we all are going to. That's kind of inevitable. But I have been working on changing rerouting my brain from those negative thoughts and kind of rerouting, and instead of the negative, changing it into a positive thing, or at least just telling myself like to be nice to myself. And it sounds stupid, but I literally have to do that, and it has helped me a lot. And I think starting your morning with affirmations is the easiest. That's what helped me. I say them to myself in my head, like when I'm at the gym, like when I'm on the treadmill going on my walk. That's when I do my affirmations, and when I visualize my dream life. And going to the gym and moving my body is something that I do every day, and that is pretty vital to my routine and making me feel like the best version of myself. So when I do my affirmations while I'm working out, because I most of the time am going to work out, I'm not going to forget. You know what I mean? And also, there's something about walking and moving while you're thinking things through that is very beneficial. And yeah, so saying them in the morning, I think, is the best thing. And my favorite affirmations, do whatever ones you want. What I did was I just looked at Pinterest, like affirmations, and I like saved all my favorite ones, and I wrote down on a piece of paper all of them. And I literally say them to myself every morning, whether I'm at the gym or before I go. And some of mine are: my success is inevitable, I am beautiful and magnetic, and I get princess treatment from the universe. That was my favorite. And of course, what I was talking about earlier, saying that I'm very lucky, good things always happen to me. And they don't have to be those, of course. They can be literally whatever you want and whatever feels best for you. And if you don't want to say them while you are working out, you can do it while you're brushing your teeth, your skincare, while you're driving to work, going on your walk, making coffee, whatever it is. But I would recommend doing it during something that is a part of your routine and that is going to most likely happen. So therefore you remember, and you can stay consistent with it. That is the easiest way. And you can even write them down and journal about it. Try writing like one affirmation 10 times and reflect on what it means. And then it's kind of like ingrained in your mind and something that pops in there all the time. For me, when I journal, I a lot of times like to journal affirmations, because when you write things down, you remember them more. And so when I journal, I write down my affirmations, and that affirmation sticks in my head, and it kind of just pops up, and I'm repeating it to myself almost subconsciously. And I have seen actual changes from that. And you can also use your environment. Place affirmations where, you're naturally going to see them. You can put them on your phone. I even have an affirmation on my phone, and it says, everything is falling into place. And every time I open my phone, I see that. And subconsciously, whether I'm like paying attention to it or not, I'm reading it. And my mind is, strengthening that pathway that believes everything is falling into place. And that is one of my firm beliefs. I'm like, you know what? I know I'm always going to be taken care of by the universe. Like, everything is going to fall into place for me. That's something I actually believe. And who knows? Maybe it's the affirmation. I'm pretty sure it is. Okay. You can also put sticky notes everywhere. I put a lot of sticky notes on my mirror saying that I'm beautiful. And, even if I don't feel beautiful, I'm still reading that, and I can remember me writing that down, and out of self-love for myself. And then I remember, oh yeah, I don't want to hate myself. I don't want to be unkind to myself, because the more I say the negative things, I'm just going to believe that. And then I'm going to walk around thinking that I'm ugly, and I'm not. No one is like, you are beautiful. So if you have to tell yourself that you are beautiful, because I want you to believe that, and put them on your mirror, put them everywhere. I don't care if it's cringy, like write it down and do it. You can also put it in your planner or your car. Just those little reminders throughout the day will reinforce the message. And you can say them in your head. Obviously, when I'm at the gym, I don't say them out loud. But when I'm at home, I do say them out loud. And there is something about hearing your own voice when you speak them out loud. It will feel awkward, but saying those affirmations out loud engages you differently than simply like thinking about it. I don't know how to explain it, but it works a little better. And mine, I know, are kind of vague, but I think it is important to make some of them specific. Like, for example, instead of saying, oh, I'm happy, try, I create moments of joy and happiness every day, because it's kind of unrealistic to always be happy. That's just not how life works. But if you're saying, I create moments of joy every day, you are inevitably going to do something that makes you happy, and you're going to create a pocket of joy, a pocket of happiness from that. And I think that that is very helpful, because especially when you're vague and you say something like, I'm happy. It's like, okay, that's kind of hard to believe just because the statement is so vague. Another one that I personally do is, instead of saying like, I'm brave, I instead say, I can feel fear and still move forward, because I am kind of an anxious person. I am always low key like worried that the worst thing is going to happen sometimes. And so one thing that I've been really working on is like, you know what, I can still be scared and do it anyway, and I will be okay. And it has made me a braver person than just saying I'm brave, because it was hard for me to believe it at first. And the more specific affirmations they are, I feel like they feel a lot more grounded. But again, you do have to match these affirmations with action. You can't just say them. You kind of have to, work towards it a little bit. For example, if you say like, I'm healthy, I take care of my body, you can't just say that and then be healthy. You know what I mean? You actually have to support it for like drinking water, eating a nourishing meal, getting enough sleep, going for a walk. You have to put some sort of action to it. It's just like manifesting. You can't just manifest and be like, I am going to meet the love of my life, and you're staying at home all day. You know what I mean? You can say, I'm going to meet the love of my life, and then you go explore. You go to the library, you go to a museum, and who knows? Maybe you're going to meet the love of your life. I feel like there's a lot of categories for affirmations, like self-love, confidence, healing, relationships. They don't always have to be, you know, about becoming a better version of yourself. Of course, that's what they're about, but sometimes they can just be about peace. Like, I choose calm over chaos. I can control my own actions. Affirmations that just kind of help you heal your nervous system. Another thing that helps affirmations feel more believable is like you don't want to convince yourself that you're already someone completely different. Their information should kind of sound like almost an invitation. Like, I am becoming XYZ. I choose peace. I am learning to love myself. Every day I practice self-love. Things like that. Instead of I love myself, those kind of help you believe, oh yeah, I'm working towards this, and it's going to happen. It's happening for me. Because it's whatever works best for you, honestly. Because whether saying, okay, I'm already this way, or I'm becoming this way, whatever feels more believable to you, you should do that, because when you believe it, it's going to happen. And when you kind of say, I am becoming, I feel like those phrases leave a little more room for growth and make your affirmations feel a lot more authentic. But, you're still encouraging positive changes and becoming a better version of yourself. Another tip that I have for you is make an affirmations playlist, and you can even just search it up on Spotify. You don't have to make it yourself, but I made one and it's kind of full of just like really positive songs with good affirmations in them. One example of a song is that Ariana Grande one. I forget what it's called. 7 Rings. It's like, I want it, I got it. That's like the most classic. That's like the first song that I think of when I think of an affirmation song. But put songs like those in it, because frequencies and music actually play such a big part. If you're listening to sad music all day, you're probably going to be sad. But if you're listening to high vibe music, high frequency music that pumps you up, you're going to feel energized. You're going to feel happy and joyful. And so make a playlist that is one, going to make you happy, and that is full of positive affirmations. Because maybe I sound woo-woo, but you kind of have to be careful with the music that you listen to. Because there was a time in my life where I was listening to really depressing songs, and I was so depressed. And I low key at this time did not have a reason to be depressed. That sounds bad. Like, depression is always valid, but I felt like I was just so sad no matter what. But literally, I was listening to only depressing songs. Like, I would get ready and listen to songs that were like about like suicide. Like, girl, what are you doing? I don't even know. So, music plays such a huge role in this. So, make a playlist and put songs that, are talking about positive change, happy things, and self confidence. Those songs, I really love Megan Thee Stallion also, especially when I'm working out. Like, those songs, I just listen. I'm like, oh yeah, oh wait, you're right. I am that bitch. And you should feel like that. Everybody should feel like that. So make your affirmation playlist, and also listening to it in the morning as well is going to make a difference. And it doesn't even have to be lyrics. Sometimes I just go on YouTube and search up like positive frequency music or healing frequency music. And maybe you don't believe in that, but I personally do. And I think frequencies hold a lot of power and a lot more than we are led to believe. But I just want to remind you that the words we choose matter because our brains are always listening. When you're constantly criticizing yourself, your mind begins searching for evidence that you're right. Like, I have experienced this all the time, and I feel like I have developed body dysmorphia from it almost, because sometimes, I mean, I don't even know what I look like, but I have spent years of my life criticizing myself. So when I look in the mirror, I'm looking for things that I don't like. And I'm proving to myself, I'm like, oh, yep, there it is. There it is. But that's sometimes not even true. And it's a lot of times it is all in your head. But if you start speaking to yourself with more compassion, your brain is going to notice that. And that is going to support that new belief. And it might be subtle, it's going to be gradual, but it is powerful. And it's not going to change overnight. But you will look back and be like, wow, that actually changed. For me, I can look back from a little over a year ago around this time. Affirmations have really shifted my perspective on life and my happiness, my mental health. It sounds so silly and it seems like it's the smallest, littlest thing, but truly they go so far. And I will preach this from the mountaintops till the day I fucking die. Like, girl, say those freaking affirmations, or guy. Sorry. But okay? You get what I'm saying. And again, I just want to send another reminder. You do have to put some actions in. You can't just be like, I have strong boundaries and not support your boundaries. But saying those things is going to make you want to set boundaries. It's going to make you want to respect yourself more because you're saying that to yourself. You're believing it. You're going to be like, you know what? I respect my boundaries. Boom. You're respecting your boundaries. You are setting them. You are respecting yourself. You're not letting people treat you like shit. So something that I want you guys to try this week is to pay attention to the way you speak to yourself. Take extra care and listen. And not just in the mirror, not just like in the morning, but throughout the day. Like, notice what happens when you make a mistake or when you get ready or when someone maybe says something offhand. And a lot of times it's not about you. It's, maybe they're just having a day. What happens? Like, what's your first thought? What do you go to? If it's negativity, work on rerouting it into positivity and telling yourself something different. For me, it's when someone does say something maybe rude to me, or they didn't mean it rude, but it hurt my feelings. A lot of times I tell myself, you know what, it's not personal. And I feel like I'm a lot better at when people say mean things to me or things like that. I can take it with a grain of salt and be like, they're honestly probably having a bad day. And a lot of times it has nothing to do with you. But listen and pay attention to how you are speaking to yourself. And being self-aware is the first step. And just starting is something you should be so proud of. I also want you to remember that your inner voice is the soundtrack of your life. No one else is going to decide how your life path goes. Only you get to do that, and that is beautiful. You are going to hear your thoughts more than anyone else's. Like, definitely more than anyone else's. You can't read minds, but those thoughts are going to shape your life. And if you can shift them into gratitude and noticing the beautiful things, your life will feel so much more beautiful because you are looking for those things. But if you aren't even giving yourself a chance, of course you're going to be upset. Do you know what I'm saying? And you don't have to fake confidence. You don't have to be someone that you're not. You don't have to pretend everything's okay. You just have to stop letting your inner critic have the final word and deciding your fate for you, because there are two sides to every story. And I want you to start taking the positive route and start speaking to yourself with love and kindness and empathy, because you deserve that. Think of it as speaking to yourself the way you would speak to your best friend. You would never tell your best friend that she looks bad, or that she's not funny, that she's not smart. You would never say that. And you should be your own best friend. So do not say that to yourself. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. This is something I am really passionate about, and I'm so glad I got to talk about it. I hope you like it. If it resonated with you, please share it with someone who could maybe use it, and please leave a rating if you feel so inclined. And thank you so much. I'll see you in the next episode.